Greetings, people. I had no idea we were on camera today from the press conference. That was very funny to see that in the thread. They usually don't have a reverse shot on us, so
yeah, I saw the back of my head and my hairy neck that I need to shave.
We appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Felt like pushing this back just a day because it made more sense with us getting to meet Coach Cross today and have a little better understanding of kind of what they're doing, how confirmation of a lot of things I reported actually on the search, and then just kind of where things are at with all of that. And I think it made more sense to do it today, so that's why we did it today or tonight. Doing it now. Probably not gonna be a high energy show as it's been a long day for us, but Alex, you're the OKG. What did you think of Coach Cross? And I don't know if I was caught laughing. I have no idea what the cross shot is, but I had a pretty big chuckle when he singled you out during the presser.
Yeah, that was an interesting exchange. I don't know. I thought he nailed everything. He kind of hit all the points that Tech fans were wanting to hear after the season that was. Just like the right kind of guys, playing hard, playing physical, and he has a system he's going to run, and he's going to get the right type of guys, whether they're, he didn't talk about stars or anything, but like recruiting services stars, but just the right fit, the right attitude, and that kind of thing. So I think that was kind of what people were wanting to hear. He seems like, he's won like he hadn't won like huge at his different places, but he was coming from a low bar where at both stops, and he kind of raised it, took Troy to the NCAA tournament. So if you can go to the NCAA tournament 2 straight years with Troy, I would like to see what the step up in competition is gonna bring, if he can bring that same kind of consistency. So it all depends, like we've talked about, staff and who he keeps from this roster, who he goes out and gets in the next few weeks. I listened back to that what he had about the talking to players right now, and I misheard him. I thought he had said something he probably shouldn't have, but he was actually talking about JUCO guys, and I guess guys that's already been in the portal or announced.
Yeah, there's a handful. There's maybe like 20 like legit dudes I think in the portal.
Yeah, so. And I'm sure some Troy guys will come. I got to look at their roster. I can't remember from watching the other day. I don't remember how experienced they were. They've got some.
The center's a senior. I think everybody else had time on their clock. So, and most of those were guys that he signed out of high school. It's interesting because when I looked at what they did, it was very organically built, like with guys moving up, and then he would go get a JUCO or a guy or sit a guy for a year and develop them, or they play 15 minutes and then jump into a starting role this year. So there's a lot of different ways you can cut it. Obviously, the JUCO thing's a little bit harder at Georgia Tech, so it'll be interesting. I was curious. I didn't clock Cabrera's reaction to that, or whether he had one or not. Those could be a little more tricky with Georgia Tech's academics. Grad transfers are much easier, or guys that are very young in school than a JUCO guy. But it's a new era, so maybe that'll be a bit easier for him. I was impressed. I wasn't sure what to think. I had a buddy that hung out with him this weekend and gave me kind of heads up that he was kind of a country dude, very similar to Brent Key in a lot of ways. And you kind of see that the Alabama he's from not quite East Texas, but he's from like somewhere kind of in between where Haynes King was from in Dallas. It's like a suburb of Dallas now, in the way that like some kind of far out places and like Jackson County or something is a suburb of Atlanta. Like, so yeah, that'll be interesting to see kind of what his process is like, what he does. The big thing I think here for him is it's clear he can coach ball, he can develop players. Scaling things up shouldn't be a huge issue as long as you have the right level of talent. Finding a couple of guys to add to his staff that have experience going and getting that talent, and in the ATL in particular, I think would be important. I know that myself and some other media people have offered a few suggestions. We'll see. And then I'm sure that some fans have probably had the same, or people, boosters, and other people have interacted with them have had similar suggestions on people who make sense that are available right now, unemployed assistant coaches who could come in and kind of level up recruiting a little bit. Because really, with Damon and Josh, they did a lot of it on their own. Hobbs and Pershing had their guys they recruited, but it's I think he's got to handle more of the coaching load and pass some of that stuff off. But he also got to have guys you trust. I'm sure. I've been told he's bringing at least two of his guys with him. His number one and at least one other assistant. Probably, I would guess, several other people will come from that organization over as well. And that gives him a fundamental building block for his program. That was the other weird thing when you hire someone like Damon that'd been out of it. He didn't have people to go hire, right? Like he was basically cold hiring people other than Bonzi Wells. He was hiring kind of random people that he had interactions with. So this seems like a huge step forward to me in terms of the professionalism of what they're doing. Like the structure bit of it always felt like it was been out of place and has been kind of whack with Damon and even with Josh to an extent too. Like having standards, this is our expectation. Like Damon fixed, they had some academic issues. Damon kind of fixed that part of it, but having, you know, guys that are accountable to each other. And Damon talked about connectivity. They had none on that team. And I think Scott's a guy who's going to build that with his players. So I'm really interested to see. This is as encouraged as I've been. This is what, the fourth one of these I've been through. Is that right? No, yeah, the fourth one. This is the most encouraged of the four I've been coming out of a press conference with the possibilities of the coach they hired actually being able to do what he says he thinks he can do and get them back to relevancy. I will say the reality is going to probably take him a little bit of time. Whatever happens in year one is year one. So don't throw that on it. Don't expect to go to the tournament next year or whatever. If they are in a postseason, that's a huge step. Whether it's NIT or whatever next year. I just want to see them playing in Charlotte in the ACC tournament. Like that would, I think should be your sort of tangible goal, not being in
I
last
would,
place.
I would hope so.
And I think you'll have a more competitive product. So we'll be able to go. I like this question here. Do you think Coach Cross will be able to get us to make free throws? I'm guessing free throws is what you're saying, not three. I hope so. That nothing chaps me more than watching dudes missing free throws, but you see it all across college basketball. So
I saw it on Thursday night, the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
there was a game that somebody won. I forget what game it was. They were like 19-16 from the line or something, and that was why they were winning the game. It was like they were just cruising out there.
I know.
Was that the Santa Clara game in Santa Clara? I don't remember what game that was I was watching, but one of the teams was just drilling free throws, and that was like why they were winning the game at the time.
I know Vanderbilt had some costly misses in that second half of Nebraska, the game the other night that cost them. Carolina was not great from the free throw line either in the second half of their loss. Still waiting on the Hubert news today. I thought it would happen by now, but I don't know.
Alex is not going to sleep well until Hubert Davis is run out of town with pitchforks in Chapel Hill.
I think they're kind of in a weird spot because they
want him to quit. So
yeah,
that's a weird element to all of this because
they want to do it the right way and they want to not like tarnish his complete legacy here. But yeah, it's probably got to happen.
What is his legacy? They had one tournament run, right, with him.
Yeah, they ended Coach K's career. That was his high point. Then they blew that 15-point lead in the championship game to Kansas that would have finished that run off the right way. But I'm sure the folks don't want to hear about Carolina basketball.
I mean, I certainly don't.
I was just looking. I didn't realize when he introduced his kids, I didn't know his oldest son is a redshirt freshman at Troy. I assume
he played some this year, Austin. He was like a deep bench guy, but he played quite a few minutes and averaged, I think, 1.5 points or something a game. I think it's interesting.
He was, according to his bio on Troy's site, he was the 2023 AHSAA 5A Player of the Year in Alabama. So must be decent.
This is an interesting question. Key, so this is talking about Brent beat top 25 teams and played well against them. Ramsey was kind of a known quantity. Do we think he could create similar excitement? I think that was something that was harped upon, and this may have been where the pushback was in the search with some of the other people that I mentioned that were interested in the job. Part of all of this is you need someone that can sell your program, like the way Brent has, or Bruce Hepler with the golf team's a great example of this as well, raising money on his own and doing those things. Brent's willing to go. You sit down and have dinner with whoever and raise money and do the things that you need to do that are tough or time consuming. Um, I think Coach Cross definitely has that in him. Damon Steinmeier is just not a guy that's interested in that. He's a wealthy man that is very comfortable in his skin where he is. I think when you look at other guys, you got to do something to stir people up. He talked about going into the frats like Coach Cremens did. I think it makes a lot of sense. You had Pastor tried to do some of these things, but Josh was so weird that like it didn't work. Like I love Josh, great dude, but like he's such a strange guy that comes. People have personality and traits that work well, and one of his was not being like the guy to go into a frat house, someone who doesn't drink caffeine or ever had a drop of alcohol. Going into a frat house has very little in common with the student body that you're looking to get to come into McCamish and be loud and from a frat house. So yeah, he talked, right, Alex, he talked about this today, didn't he, about trying
Big
to
time.
reconnect with the old players.
He went on a
Mark
whole,
Price was there. Price
and
was there.
several other guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Scott was supposed to be there. He had something come up. He couldn't make it. There was quite a well orchestrated setup of having dudes there from the history of the program. Hell, Quentin Stevens was there, Lance Stores, and just lots of random dudes. And, for a Monday afternoon and a time when not a lot of people are off because it's spring break for Georgia Tech, but not really for schools around here. I think they had a good turnout.
He did a whole spiel about his, like Kenny Anderson was his like favorite player growing up, and just watched all of his games, and he named a few more. Though he talked about Lethal Weapon 3, and he knows the history, and him talking about having a discussion with Cremens over the weekend just to kind of like, it's like, how did you do it, and like getting picking his brain a little bit. Like fans love to hear that kind of stuff, especially after the the mess that's happened in the past year or so. Yeah, he talked about the history. He knows the history, and he saw Georgia Tech at its high point, and he kind of wants to get it back there. He had the quote about, we've been to a championship game before, so why not again? Like, you get good players, you get have some breaks your way, and it can happen. I mean, in the ACC, if you beat 10, like you're going to have a chance to have big wins. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to take time, like you said. He's got to hit on some transfer guys, especially this first year, to be competitive next year. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting with roster retention. Who does he want to keep? What does he want to keep? I think Cole, from what I've gathered, Cole Clark's staying. Jaden Mustafa would like to stay. Obviously, Peyton Marshall wants to stay. He showed up today. The thing. I'm curious about Akai Fleming. I've heard quite a few things. I posted about some of it on JOL. You can read about that. There's some stuff going on with some teams trying to get in there, backdoor their way into that one. And then who does he go get out of the portal? What does he bring from Troy? Like, these are all like pertinent questions to this whole thing, and part of what it is right now. Like I said last week, I cover USF, and it's kind of a side project. And their coach came from Arkansas State, brought his team from Arkansas State. The core of that added some pieces to it. They won a regular season title, went to the tournament. And then he's going to Providence now. I'm sure the expectation is most of those guys are going to follow him that have eligibility left from USF to Providence. So it's kind of a weird time for some of those dudes. I think the cross thing's a little less weird because you're just going, at least it's drivable from Troy to Atlanta, and that sort of makes sense. It's hard to go from Jonesboro, Arkansas to Tampa to Providence, Rhode Island. That's rough sledding, if you ask me. Providence, not one of my favorite parts of New England. No offense if you're from Providence.
I'm sure. I think Duncan Powell's out of eligibility, so I don't think Hodgson will have to.
Yeah, I almost texted Hodgson to tell him to Shagman, but I realized that I think Duncan's done, so he doesn't need to worry about Shagman. Shagman, corner man.
That's right.
Damon provided us with so many highlights. And the thing that sucks is, I was talking to Randy Waters about this today, who does color for basketball. Damon's a good dude, but at the end of the day, he's a rich dude that didn't have the pressure. It never felt like this was like with Josh or Gregory. Like, I always felt like they lived or died, like with what goes on the court. Hewitt, same thing. I didn't know Coach Cremens. I was in, God, it was probably middle school or high school when he left Georgia Tech. But like the real dogs, I don't know. It never felt as serious about game to game, and maybe it was just how Damon showed it. I don't know. I mean, we did hear him and see him chew out his team before he got mad about stuff, but like, I feel like this guy's living and dying by like whatever happens on that court, and I feel like we should see the end of the oddly competitive Maryland Eastern Shore game, or the UT Rio Grande Valley game, or was that the one that they won on a tip in? Like the Tech tipped it into their own basket. Like there's one of those with Josh. Like hopefully we're at the end of that. I would like to. It's like with football when Brent took over, I didn't have to like sit there and be on pins and needles during the Georgia State game or the Mercer game or whatever. Like, I want to be back to that moment in time where like you're playing whatever, and you're going to beat teams you're supposed to beat 99% of the time. And it has been so long since Georgia Tech's been there that that's sort of my floor for all of this, man. Like, that's what I want to see. I got into this wanting to cover like good basketball, and it has been like 15 of the 17 years of it has been just ass, basically. Like the teams, I mean, like they've been some bright spots, like some second half runs. Last year was a little bit fun in the second half of the year. Like Josh had a couple fun teams other than the 21 team, but like, just put it together. My God, it's not that hard, man. Like, I don't know. Getting a question about NIL for basketball. Any clues how he plans to attack that corporate alumni donations? I think that's always going to be a mixture. There's no real, like, it's hard to do the corporate thing unless you have like Jim Bob's Ford or whatever that's like cutting crazy checks. Like some schools have that, but like if you're a tech grad who's high up at Coca-Cola, it's going to be hard, or Home Depot or Waffle House or whatever. Like those places are not super into getting into the NIL sphere. So like, let's focus on trying to figure out, get engagement. Like they've raised tons of money through individual boosters with the collectives for football. Okay. How has that been done? Or baseball even, through consistency, consistent product, consistent approach from the coaching staff, being engaged with these people, doing what it takes to raise money. You haven't had that with basketball. You haven't had that in a really long time. So that's as much a part of it as hoping or wishing that Waffle House is going to suddenly step up and start giving you $1 million a year or whatever. There could be some small deals done like that, but the bulk of the deals are from situations like I'm talking about. If that makes sense.
I know the Waffle House talk. When as soon as he started saying that, I was going to create some.
Ken Segura and I were giggling to each other when the Waffle House, just because it was funny. Ken and I both suffer from that PTSD from the Wafflegate era of Georgia Tech men's basketball with Jeff Collins. I mean, with football with Jeff Collins.
Yeah, it was. But he sounds like him and his family shared many meals late night at Waffle House after games. It sounded
It
pretty
felt very
authentic.
legitimate, like
Yeah.
compared to Jeff's that felt a little more forced. I don't think Coach Cross is like going and having Waffle House Mondays or whatever with a staff member at the Waffle House making a video for social media
He's not going to walk around with a Waffle House cup 24/7 for photo ops. I
filled
don't
with a
believe.
drink that they don't serve at Waffle House. Yes. Yeah, as a raise, I agree. As a raise the floor higher, is this, could this be like the next Bobby Cremins? Sure. Like, I mean, it wasn't like Bobby Cremins came here from Duke or something. Um, but I think this is reestablishing that you're a serious program. Like, and that's what you're looking for. Is NIL baseball funding coming pretty much entirely from former players? No. The guy whose name is on the new student sports center, Tom Fanning, is one of the biggest people, and he's not a. I don't think Tom's a former baseball player; he's a graduate. But I mean, there's some money like to share and some people like that, but like it's kind of a mixed bag of different people. And they really geared things up this year for Ramsey to set him off on a path to have success to start.
Teixeira might be shifting his funds to different things now that he's
Running for Congress, Texas.
running for office out there. So
Did we confirm if Cross plays golf and drinks coffee? Was that part of his Waffle House order? I can't remember what it was. I remember the
I don't think
food
he
part
said
of it. I
anything
don't
about
think he said
coffee.
yeah, I don't think he talked about coffee.
He just said blueberry waffle with extra like well done bacon.
I had no idea they had a
Scrambled egg.
blueberry waffle at Waffle. I've only ever seen like you can get chocolate chip, which is the only other one that I've ever seen anyone get when I've been there.
I'm
And
just
I
a
always just
regular
get a plain
waffle guy.
waffle. Like I like it
Yep.
plain. Can you get pecans or something maybe? Is that a thing or no?
I don't
Is
know.
that IHOP had the pecan syrup, I think maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to IHOP in 20, 15 years.
I hate to let down my new coach, but I hadn't been to Waffle House in a while either.
Oh, we go all the time. I have two boys that like I have two young boys that like going to Waffle House. We go. It's usually like a late breakfast on a Saturday or something. We'll go to when it's not sports season. Oh, pecan waffles. Yeah. Okay. There we go. No. Yeah. I was a little. Yeah. There was some groans when he said no grits or hash browns. There was a couple groans from the back of the room. There's some people not feeling that. I guess he wants to get his carbs from the waffle. That's where
That's
he's
what
catching his.
that I think that's what he was saying when he's like, "Man, I got to watch what I eat when I go to Waffle House." I think he's a little more health conscious about choices at Waffle House than most of us.
Yeah, it was Pastner's thing that he didn't drink coffee, he didn't play golf, he didn't like his coaches to play golf. And it was funny because Paul Johnson loved golf, so the football coach was all about it, and everyone thought it was weird. So yeah, they do have pecan waffle. I wasn't tripping on that. I had no idea they had blueberries. That doesn't surprise me because they probably just frozen blueberries like out of a bag or whatever. But man, I used to get a vanilla Coke back in the day, like a Coke heavy, like a real. That was cool because they had the vanilla syrup in the Waffle House. I lived literally next to a Waffle House in college. Like there's one right down the street. It was good hitter at 2:30, 3 in the morning when you're feeling good. I'd be like on death's door at that hour these days. They're both solid players. Like they're not. I mean, there's three of them. I don't know. Two of them I know play now. I'm sure all three played. I don't know what the story is, other than Austin was on the team at Troy.
I looked it up a little bit ago. His middle son, I think, is graduating this year from. They all went to Charles Henderson in I guess that's in, I think it's in Birmingham. Yeah, his younger one, I think, is like a freshman or sophomore over there, but I think they're all pretty good basketball family. Yeah, that was another cool thing about when talking about his wife uploading the games on his iPad.
Appreciate the deep shot there, brother.
Alrighty.
How many people did we see there today. It seemed like it's hard to judge because we're in a weird room. I mean, there was over 100 people, I would say, there.
There were a whole lot of people standing in the back behind all the chairs. I know that.
Yeah, it's hard. So we were down in the front and the chairs in the front. There was maybe like 40 people down there. And then there was a bunch of people behind us. But we were all like working the whole time. So, and then when I stood up, we went down and we're like trying to get photos and whatever else and say hello to people. So I went over and talked to Brent Key and Danielle, his wife. And Brent asked Brent what he was up to this week with they're on vacation with spring break. He's building cabinets for his garage. If you wanted to know if you're into
That
that.
does not surprise me one bit.
Well, at first he said he's built cabinets, and I did double take and I looked at Danielle and I said, "You're letting him build cabinets for your house?" She goes, "No, it's for the garage." It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because like, there's no way like pretty much any woman I know would let their husband build unless it was like a cabin or something, like build. Certainly not in a expensive house like Brent lives in. Is Austin coming to Tech? I would think so. They're not going to announce that. He's still in school there and on the team. Like he has to. I think he technically has to go in the portal or whatever too. So I would assume that he's coming. I don't know. Like we were just talking about, but that's not something that come up. I'll try to find out about what's going on with his kids down the line. That was obviously not a priority.
The Troy kids have the 15-day window now. I mean, the regular portal opens on April I think
yeah. So I think if there's anyone coming here with him, that'll happen in the next week and a half before the Final Four, and the window opens after that. So, you can get that set up because that may impact who you go after in the portal, and you may be able to attract more people if you have like certain pieces in place. Like this is who's staying. This is who we added. This is what we need. Like we need a big man. We need this. We need that.
I was looking at my Twitter mentions just now. And I was stunned. I got a like from President Cabrera just now.
Oh, so did I. While we were doing this, they must be going through and liking stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Who would I take off, brother? I don't know like enough about Troy basketball. Like I watched probably as much as y'all did. Like I watched them play the tournament game, and I think I watched a little bit of their conference championship tournament game, and that's been about it. Like just been busy working. So like this is something that when spring football's over, I'll probably like go back and watch some games to get a better idea. But I don't know. Even the other thing is we don't know what the evals are because, like I said, last year he had guys who didn't play very much, and then they turned into starters this year.
I didn't. Yeah, I watched maybe some of the conference tournament and then their first round game, which was not competitive at all.
Yeah, I mean they were overmatched physically. Like that's kind of what you expect in those games. Like most of the time, like unless you just have a really like locked in team, or you're playing somebody who has suspect coaching in the first round, which often happens with some of these like highly rated teams. Kentucky. So yeah, is Ken a opinion columnist for AJC now? Yeah, he's been off the beat for 2 years. 3 years. Chad Bishop was doing it, and Chad went to go to the Braves.
I know Chad was there for my 2 years so far. I don't know. Was he there a year before? I think
he started, I think, the summer before Brett's first season, if my timing's right.
That sounds right.
First full like season, because, like I said, that seems right. And Ken became a columnist, but he seems to write a lot of features, and he's been back. They're just horribly understaffed right now, as the company's having issues there. Clearly,
that's what I was going to say. I think they're
Chad. They took him till Chad became the Braves writer. They had no Braves writer for the second half of the season this year, and Chad didn't take that job until what? It was like right after the bowl game, maybe.
Yeah, it was January. It was in the middle of basketball season. Yeah, it was. Ken, we got the update on Spencer Strider in the middle of the press conference
Oh
today.
yeah. So Alex, Chad, and I have a side chat, and I've literally just been giving Chad hell every time one of these Braves players gets hurt or like Profar gets suspended or whatever. I was like, you are literally bad luck to these people, man. Like, this is like they have had nothing but horrible luck since you got like hired to do this. Like, get change jobs.
That's what we mentioned it to Wiley when he was
Yeah,
before
Wiley, who
he
got a kick
started.
out of that too. Poor Wiley, who lost his Twitter to one of those
Crypto.
crypto scams. He's still working to get back his Twitter. Poor Wiley. So don't trust anything off of him until he's tweeting about Brave stuff again on his Twitter.
Better hurry up. Season starts next week.
Damon said that you need 10 to 12 million to get a second weekend team. Alpert says competitively funded. How much do you think that is? I mean, I think they were. Yeah, I mean, I think 5 to 8 is a logical goal, and you build from there. Sorry, I'm just laughing at something in the chat. I would say that's fair. That's where you need to get to. I think it's going to take. Alper was honest about this aspect of this in the press conference, which I appreciated, because he had been a little more vague when 680 asked him about it and some other stuff. But like it's this is a process, right? Like they didn't intend to fire Damon Stoudemire this year. The collapse at the second half of the season is what got Damon fired. I think they wanted to build. So Ryan's been wanting to build this up back up slowly, and I don't think Damon was a long term plan part of it, but he wanted to rebuild the NIL. And this is something I wrote about in the mailbag this week. The people who supported Bobby Crimmins are all dead, right? The people that gave duffel bags of cash or whatever else went on in the ACC in the 1980s, those people are dead everywhere. And you had to build a new generation of people because the people who give that kind of money were in the 50s, 60s, 70s year old people, right? People with established wealth that could just roll off money. That's the main people who give, for football and whatever else now. Like, so those people you have to regenerate each couple generations. And after Hewitt, they were starting to lose them at that point, and they just lost the plot after that with Gregory and Josh and then Damon. So you got to get it up, and it's going to take time, but it's not something that can be built in a day. So just understand that part of it. This is a vision and a goal, and I think the big thing that Ryan would want to see, and Scott Cross will tell you this, even though he wants to win every game, is you want to see a more competitive product game to game. Like that was the big thing with Damon. They play up and then way down. Like, they beat NC State and then get like murdered by Pitt at home, right? Because isn't that what happened this year? I forget what it was. They beat NC State.
They had that stinker against Pitt, and they went to NC State and
Oh, it
won.
was after that, yeah.
But then they had another stinker, I think.
Florida State maybe or something. There was some other one that was like, and they had the Virginia game obviously, which is god awful, and you can't have that. Like you can't lose like that at home.
They had the Carolina game the last game of January before they went on the West Coast, but there was one before that where it was like coming off the NC State.
They played up and
game.
down on the West Coast too, man. They were in those games, and then like just a consistency of product. Like
it's
this
still
is what
crazy.
we do. We actually run plays and offense. We have a defensive philosophy. All of those things have been missing from Georgia Tech basketball.
I think that NC State win was I think it was January 17th, and just crazy to think that was the last time they won. That's crazy. I mean, they didn't stumble into one down the stretch, or I don't know, crazy. But on the money thing, two things on that. Like with football, people are gonna. You can have a good product in football, or you can have like a average product, and you're still going to get a lot of donations because it's football. With basketball, you've got to have something kind of people can want to invest in. Like basketball is not like college football is. I mean, it was kind of crazy people like me or college basketball fans are going to watch it no matter what. But you got to have something to invest in. But then too. Like it showed this year with Kentucky, like Dick Vitale called him out on that game he called a few weeks ago. Like they spent $20 million plus on this roster, and they were not good. So that's the biggest part about when he was talking about player evaluations, player development today, is like you got to hit on the guys. Like you can't waste a year and $3 or $4 million on one guy that's not gonna, make a difference like Kentucky did this year. Obviously Kentucky and Georgia Tech basketball is
You mean like Mohamed Silla?
stratosphere. So, but yeah, you can't. You got to be
Georgia Tech
extremely
legend
selective.
Mohamed Silla?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and then the other portal class this year that was pretty big non-factors.
Georgia Tech legend Cam Kraft.
Yeah, that left up Miami, Ohio to only for them to go undefeated and make a tournament run.
It says something when they get better when you leave. Like it's usually not a positive sign. This is what I was laughing about. They had a big stinker called February. Yep. Someone's jealous of your OKG status. Yeah, that's crazy. The last one, poor Will Wade. He's so angry about that loss to Georgia Tech. Still, it was funny because like I kind of like got annoyed with him being. It turns out he was right. It was a really bad loss. Oh my goodness. There's a question. Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's struggling right now. There's no doubt about it. He's got to. I think he's in his own head a little bit. He's just got to kind of go back to just breaking things down fundamentally and not trying to do too much. He seems like he's trying to just pull the ball every bat, and he's just not seeing the ball well right now. But he went through a stretch. I told somebody this the other day. He went through a stretch in the middle of the year last year that was kind of similar. I don't think it was as bad. Like he was closer to the middle, but he got out of it and he hit the ball really well down the stretch. So I mean,
that's baseball. Guys go up and down all year.
And the good thing is they've still won all 3 ACC series with him slumping. So
as long as he doesn't go full, what were those two brothers that played for the Braves about 10 years ago?
Upton?
Yeah, the Uptons.
Yeah.
They were just like, basically it was like they went blind.
BJ Upton was the worst. That they had to trade Kimbrel along with him just to get rid of him. Nobody was going to take him by himself. But yeah, I mean, NC State this weekend, I think they were ranked 14 or 15 today. So top 15 matchup this weekend should be fun. Big test. Should be a good atmosphere over at the Rusty C.
It's when you got to win to try to get your regional hosting.
I've been a little bit surprised, honestly. Like Georgia Tech didn't drop again in the polls. Like I don't know. Baseball polls are different, I guess. That they got beat badly. I mean, I know there's two good teams. Like Pittsburgh's not ranked, but they're decent. And Georgia Tech got beat pretty bad last Tuesday at Auburn, and they still didn't drop out of the top 5. So the pollsters still think very highly of the Jackets, even with the recent struggles. So.
I definitely don't remember as much hype when Damon was hired. GT posted a ton of stuff. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that people are excited. I think the one interesting thing from talking to people in the building today that were down there is that have interacted with him. Really, they seem to like him as well. And Damon was a former player, was a closed off person, like an introverted, kind of closed off guy. Probably from being famous and rich for most of his life. Like, I can only imagine what he went through, like during his heyday of playing, and that creates parts of your personality that are probably a little more difficult to loosen up and do fun things. And he just wasn't like that. He liked ball and going home and doing whatever he did at home, and like there was not a lot of gray area to him. I think Cross understands what it's like to. He has built 2 programs from nothing at UT Arlington and Troy, and UT Arlington's been god awful since he left. And so I think he understands that aspect of it, and that's probably ultimately at the end of the day what pushed him past the other candidates that were in the mix for the job, is that he had done it at two different places where they didn't have very little history of success in basketball in any way, shape, or form. And to scale that up seems more plausible than maybe some of the other options you had out there on the table. Bai, Jaden, and Akai should be priorities for Cross. I don't necessarily agree with Bai and Ndongo. I think it just depends, man. You got to. I think the problem with Bai is he reminds me a lot of early Moses, right? When Moses didn't have a fire under him to kind of do stuff. And I think Jose Alvarado is the one that kind of kicked him in the ass and got him going. And you would need that, I guess. But I mean, the dude played a game with no points and 5 fouls, like as a junior. Like that's crazy for a dude that should be averaging a lot of points and stuff. Baseball for Alex. What do you think the rotation will look like by the end of the season, weekend and midweek?
That's a good. I've been thinking about that with especially the struggles on Sunday, which was not the case this past weekend. That was their best start from Blakely on Sunday. I mean, I think he's going to stick with McKee and Loy for sure. Loy had a bad outing on Saturday, which was, I don't know, it was his worst one. I think he's been pretty consistent the few weeks before that. I don't know. I could see one of the freshmen. Wilcox has pitched pretty well lately. I could see him kind of probably maybe moving into a midweek or maybe even the Sunday starter. But I mean, if Blakely keeps pitching like that, he's going to keep that spot. He pitched really well Sunday. Dimitri Angelakos has done decent other than the Auburn game in midweek starts. I mean, that's what Ramsey talked about first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. They've got so many guys they can pick from. They hadn't all pitched as well as they wanted them to, but it's still, I mean, they're constantly evaluating what they want the pitching staff to look like. I think they've kind of settled on their back end of the bullpen guy. Shattuck's not going to be a starter. He's going to be a back end guy. Patel's back in the bullpen, but they've got other options. I mean, you can't judge McKee and Loy off of this past weekend. That was going to be a lot of runs scored those 2 games, but I think that's those 2 will stay, and I think maybe one of the freshmen will end up moving into the Sunday role if Blakely doesn't stay consistent. So he's got a lot of options. He's still evaluating everything though. He'll change things up if he needs to. He's not just gonna stick with it for the heck of it.
Albert said the interview 10 down to 3. Yes, I wrote about it on the site. Go read it. I gave you who I thought it was. It was the last hot board I did. Look up the story, Georgia Tech, whatever it was. What was it? Hot board 2.0. Those were the guys that were the main people in the job search.
Ken,
I'm not giving away my scoops, man.
Ken, are you talking about McKelvey or AK? I'm having a problem with the.
It looks like an AK.
I'm trying to think of initials right now.
Sorry if I missed it. Who do you prioritize retaining on the current hoop roster? I think Akai Fleming to me is a legit dude. They're gonna have to. That'll be an interesting one because he's already getting back channeled for other schools. Mustaf is my second one. Kierwax, my third. I actually like Davy Remigan. I think he plays really interesting defense. I think you might have something there. It's just going to take some time to develop his offensive game. And, Peyton, if he wants to stay, you keep him. Big guys, you can't teach 7 foot. He's slow and he needs to work on his foot speed and conditioning. But there's something there. And, a lot of times those guys just take a really long time to develop into something. I think it's worth a roster spot on when you got 15 spots. Aside from those guys, I mean, I would tell Cam Kraft to go find a place. I can't imagine that he'd want that. The guy can't play any defense at all on the team. Chatfield's interesting. It depends on what your eval is on Chatfield. Damon did him a huge disservice the way he used him this year, in my opinion. It made no sense and totally screwed that kid's head up. But playing him sometimes, not playing him for weeks at a time, you either play him or you don't. You can't sit in between there. Brandon Storrs, I don't know what to make of that. The guys on the team told me he can light it up in practice. but they redshirted him, so I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that was academics based, or just didn't feel like there was time on the court, or he needed the time to develop, or what the thought process was there. Trying to think if was there anyone else. Oh, obviously, what do you do there? I mean, if he wants to stay at a NIL number that makes sense for him, yeah, sure, why not? Take a chance, see if you can light a fire under him. But if he doesn't, then you tell him to hit the bricks. Like, you don't, either you're in or you're out. Like, and that's what crosses, I'm sure, going to be these conversations in the coming weeks with all tech players. Like, are you in or are you out? And can you do the things that I demand? Like, are you going to be an OKG, as he said, like a hard nosed, gritty player that work, is going to outwork his opponent? If the answer is not yes, or you don't love the game or whatever, I don't think he wants you on the team. And we'll go find somebody else. And I think that's the right way to look at it. This is an era where you have ultimate free agency and it cuts both ways. Like, he's under no obligation to keep any of those kids. So he's got to decide what's going to be best for him. He's building a program, and ultimately he's judged by the left and the right hand column, as Damon said, the wins and losses. And that's what Damon got judged on. It's what Cross will eventually be judged on after a couple of years. And it's what fans are going to be looking at, along with the quality of play. So, is a situation where people are safe or not safe? I don't think that's the way to look at it. Maybe I think it's who fits what he's trying to do. I think Kerouac fits what he's trying to do. I think Mustafa and Fleming definitely fit it. I think Davi might fit it. Chatfield might. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. He just played weirdly. And they played him too many minutes when they did play him. It was like, here, you haven't played in 3 weeks. Go play 30 minutes against Stanford or on the road or whatever it was they did. Like,
yeah, I'm a Chatfield guy. I've always liked him. I think he'll be.
Lamar Washington was so bad. Like, what were you losing putting Chatfield on the court? That's where I get hung up on with Damon, man. Like, some of the decisions were so bad. Like, you have Cam Kraft, but you don't run what you need to run to use a Cam Kraft. He's a guy who needs to come off a pick and catch the ball and shoot in rhythm, and maybe catch and shoot corner threes. And didn't do any of that with him. Wasey they knew how to use. Yes, but some of these dudes just totally miscast him what they were trying to do. I don't know. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, we both wanted to be down there. How do I think it'll schedule? It depends. I'm trying to remember how they do basketball scheduling. Some of it's done.
I think most of it's locked in. Yeah.
So it just depends. Damon went really soft this year. So I don't know. I that was one question we didn't ask today. Yeah, Hayes brothers, Chad Dollar. Those would be the 3 people I would definitely call first. The assistants have. Most teams have 5 guys as assistants on the staff in various roles. In terms of maybe other people, I'm not sure. There's a lot of different guys floating out there.
They must.
Is there anything on the in
the? Yeah, we got a couple. Here's a football questions to change the pace. How do their young wide receivers look so far? Anyone stood out in terms of size, speed, or hands? I'll say one that stood out in terms of size and not in a good way is my guy JJ Winston from Rome. He's very small. He looks way smaller than he did on the Rome.
It's like Malik, but you stretch him out vertically.
Yeah, but I think he's probably around 145, 150 right now. He's going to have to add a lot of weight. But he's basically a high school senior right now. So, I I mean, Jordan Allen looks. I saw him. I think I mentioned that on one of our other shows. I saw him at the baseball. He had one of those come see me at this booth, like appearances or whatever they do now for NIL. But he looks thicker, and he looks like he's still got the same speed. He hasn't lost any speed. He's their guy right now. So I hadn't seen much from Furman. I just hadn't been there, I think, since the first week.
I think
So
he was asking about the youngins,
oh yeah.
right? Was that
I mean,
what the question was? I don't remember.
Kentrell Davis he's tall and lanky and athletic. He's a little bit bigger than JJ, but he's still got to put on a college type body. Darnell Collins, I don't think we're going to see much of him this spring, for certain. Injury issues. I'm trying to think. Jeffrey Jean ended up not being a early enrollee. He's coming in May. Who else?
I think.
Brockta.
Yeah.
Is he practicing? I hadn't noticed him.
Yeah. I have a bunch of pictures of him. Randomly, he's like one of the dudes that like is always in the pictures that I'm taking for some reason.
So.
And it has nothing to do with like him doing good or bad or whatever. He just is, for whatever reason, whenever I walk up to a drill, he's always in the front of at that point, because usually the drill's already started. He's at the front of it. He's been fine. I think with those guys, you learn a lot more about them in the summer and the fall. They're all kind of learning, drinking from the hose at the moment. But as I said this in the mailbag this week, like someone asked about that, I said Marion Brown, Eric Singleton, not Canyon because he was hurt as a freshman, but like he started to play in the second half of that season. Jordan Allen last year, like there's always dudes who can play receiver. I'm not like, that's not something I think you need to get worked up about, especially because they were able to get Furman, a bigger body guy. You have Javian Plummer as another bigger body guy. Kentrell, who they brought in, like that's not a concern that I would have. I think the receivers will be fine. Like I think people are a little hung up on that, and the analogy I used in the mailbag was like the Plummer kid's sort of like Abdul Janae, like that's what his role is, and Furman's going to be somewhere between what like Chase and Isaiah Canyon did. I don't know his ceiling's as high as Canyon's, but he's going to be very productive. I mean, I don't know. SI is such an aggregator of stuff. I don't know what they pulled that from to win 10th in the ACC. I don't think most people have not like started handicapping the league yet. I mean, you don't know who starting quarterbacks are. You don't know position battles and a lot of Clemson just lost a player for the year today, or was announced. One of their defensive guys, I think, is out for the year. One of their defensive linemen. So like, I think it's crazy to start trying to handicap things. Brent's always been better though when he's picked lower, and he tends to overachieve.
If you're betting on a ACC championship football odds before spring football's done, I don't know what you're more of a degenerate than I am, because like nobody knows. There's a few teams that have a lot of experience.
Alex was texting me angry at Florida last night.
Oh my gosh,
that was a bad one. His broken parlay.
That was a bad one. Yeah, I've thought about that a few times.
Alex is a degenerate gambler, but like, so he's qualified to make that statement. He spent all weekend up in Cherokee gambling.
Not quite Cherokee. I went to Murphy. It's a little closer drive.
Murphy instead?
It's a closer drive, but yeah, it was the same degeneracy. Yeah, I missed out on a little parlay last night on the late games that stuck with me, but it happens.
That's why they build those giant buildings called casinos, my man.
Hey, they give you free food though and free room, so
yeah. Again, if Alex is getting comps, that sort of tells you too.
It's all worth
about
it.
His gambling prowess.
Yeah, come stay with us. We'll take more of your money.
I was discussing sending him somewhere. He goes, "Oh, there's such and such casino. I got a comp there."
The College World Series. There's a right across the border in Iowa. There's a Caesars property that I could probably stay at for free. Should that?
Yeah, I'm like scared to ever send you to like Vegas or something. I think you might lose your mind there, dude.
Well, I'd have to get on a plane first, so
Yeah, you're gonna drive to Omaha. You're gonna pack the dog up and
hey, an little road
take the
trip.
Colorado up to baseball town.
That's right. Shoot, if we go to Omaha, I'll make it some way. I'm not a
Are you
I'm
getting
not a
called
high
out in the
roller.
chat now, buddy?
I'm not a high roller by any means. I'm still a budget gambler, but they give you some perks for betting. For I don't play a whole lot of slots, but
The
yeah,
slots is like that's the
it's terrible.
like I
But
get it, but that's like you might as well just throw nickels into like a drain. Tight end heavy, speedy. Yeah, I mean, our boy Philip here has it figured out. Tight end heavy, speedy slot, big wide out. There you go. There's your offense.
and when you think about slots, think a little bit differently too.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin Harris could be a slot. Your running back could be a slot. They did that a lot last year. Like, there's lots of. You don't have. It doesn't have to be a Jordan Allen type or a Malik Rutherford type. It can be. And in the past, they used Avery Boyd like that. They've used different guys with other coaching staffs here. So you can do a lot of different stuff. Yeah, I thought Josh Pate's interview with Brown was great. I mean, it jives with like I tried to tell you guys, he was burnt out, man, at the end of last year. That took a lot out of him. Everything that went on, the portal stuff, Buster, all the stuff with Buster, all the stuff with Gideon, and he went against his better judgment on some things early on that kind of bit him in the ass, one of which was not hiring Boogie when he had an opportunity to make him the DC. So he went back to things that make sense for him, and I think it's going to be good. Appreciate you, bud. Thanks. This is an era where I feel pretty comfortable with what I'm doing. Alex is over there dying from inhaling his soda or whatever during the thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. People gotta remember Brent's still young as a head coach. In a lot of ways, he's learning and he got a lot very fast in terms of jumping from being an O-line coach to head coach. And so there's been a lot of lessons he's had to learn. It's I appreciate you, Philip. Thanks. Yeah, the thing is with Brent, I think he understands the things he messes up, the things he gets right, and William said you missed one of your parlays, buddy. Yeah, the way I think about it is the way I think about this threw me off the whole thing with Alex here, and Brent's learning on the job, and there's going to be some learning curve to that, and that's part of it. And I think everyone got a little high on their own supply with the success they had last year too, from the top to the bottom of the organization. And Alex just let me know that he's having a major coughing attack. Philip said your lungs are not certified OKG. Alex just saw the Braves rotation going into the season. Actually, that was a hot topic of conversation as well after the press conference. We talked about the Braves, and I made my Julio Teheran joke again about him retiring and how they could at least got 50 innings out of his old arm this year with the way things are going. Or that I was talking to Ken as he was leaving that somehow Chris Sale, who played for my Red Sox, went from being like, hey, you guys, this is an old school Braves reference. Pete Smith, who was the fifth starter on the OG 91, 92 Braves. Like that guy who kept getting hurt all the time. That was Chris Sale, who was a really good pitcher when he pitched. He just hurt all the time. Or Steve Avery was another one that had that problem. And Chris Sale's like suddenly the anchor, your healthy rotation guy. Like that's the weirdest part of all this. The one guy I thought I would have bet money on being hurt is the only guy who's healthy. Teheran could have been the Julio Franco of the Braves, yes. That would have been pretty funny. I remember going to see Julio play at the end there when he was back with the Braves, just pinch hitting, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Um, he played like from like the early '80s all the way through like the mid 2010s or something crazy like that. Yeah, wild run, Julio Franco. We're really getting off the rails here. What was his last year? Sorry, '07, mid aughts. I give it Julio a little too much credit. I don't think he was playing at 50. He was not Satchel Paging it, playing into his like 50s. Who's the punter next year? I heard the backup plans to stay with the team, even though my career punter the last 2 years really. They signed a punter. He's just not in school. He doesn't start until the summer. It's Barchetta, Alex Barchetta. Is that right? Yeah, from Rice. That's their punter. He just isn't on campus right now. He's finishing up school at Rice. He had 62 punts, 45-yard average. Joshua Taylor. I think that's his name. Sorry, buddy, if I'm getting that wrong. He's the backup plan, and then they have some other guys that have had some experience punting, but yeah, Joshua Taylor from Trinity Christian School. He would be like your other punter. Yeah, Josh Taylor. Yeah, he seems solid enough. Like he could do it. I think that yeah, that's kind of where it's at. I don't. I think we're running out of gas here. I'm tired. Alex is having a coughing fit. Oh, here he is. He's back now.
I'm back.
Bring you back.
Oh, that was rough. I've had this cold sinus mess.
I was just hitting that vape pen too hard.
That was
just doing a bong rip over on the side.
Yeah, we got those over in Silver Creek. Yeah, this
Why
cold
people
sinus
grow
stuff.
all the weed for Metro Atlanta. That's why the fire station went up, Alex.
Oh man, the old historic courthouse went up in flames today up here in Floyd County.
That looked like something from like a movie. Like the video they have of that, it was very wild.
They were doing some construction, so I think there was some kind of welding accident or something like that. But
whatever they did was by something very flammable because the thing went up like a tinderbox.
I think that one is toast.
May have been grandfathered in to not have the sprinkler system in that bad boy by the looks of that fire. No jury duty for Alex for a while, though.
I served my time last summer, hopefully for a while.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Anything else in the thing that we need to get to?
There's one other question, and it's about comparing the Georgia Tech's NIL to Miami since they made a first-year turnaround with a new coach.
I mean, a lot of that was Jim Larenega's like team really massively underperforming for the last couple of years he was there. They had like some super talented dudes and like got zero out of them or had bad. It was a little bit like Georgia Tech. Like they had weird injuries or like I remember going down there and being like, this guy's not playing, this guy's not playing, this guy's not playing. So they're okay. Do they use the steam whistle at baseball games, Alex? I don't know.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think I've heard it this year. I don't.
Will the recruiting class be better than last year? It was 44. Yeah, I would bet money on that. I'd put a Chris Benjamin on that they'll go over that. They're doing a really nice job. They've made up a lot of ground in the last 3 or 4 months since they changed the recruiting staff over and Liam Klein's taken over and doing his thing. Baseball question for you, sir.
I think Advincula might move back up eventually. especially with Burris struggling the way he is. And if Vincula hadn't been really hitting for power a whole lot, he's been he's been hitting high average, so he could fit in one of those 1 or 2 spots. So I think that could happen soon. Man, this voice is struggling.
All right, I think we'll call it a night, folks. We appreciate everybody for joining us. I just wanted to give Alex a chance to jump back on, so you guys wouldn't worry that he died from the black lung, as Philip was joking. Appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week. Then we'll be kicking back off into spring football 2.0.
That's right.
Hopefully, maybe we'll have some guidance too on who's leaving and going, and maybe some staff news on basketball. So appreciate everybody. Tell everybody about Jackets Online. Subscribe to the site. We're running a deal. Go check out my Twitter, Kelly_Quinlan, and what's my username thing on here. And there's a pinned deal on there for people that are not subscribers to get a year of the Athletic kicked in, 50% off. It's a spring deal. It's about as good a deal as we ever run. So jump in. Tell your tech friends to jump in. It helps us out. Appreciate everyone for joining us. Thank you.